Sterling once said, "Beer is proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy." Have you ever stopped to think about what beer actually is? What makes its distinct taste and how it's had an impact on our world? Military.com says that 90 million Americans enjoy drinking beer. And Men's Health magazine says that their recent research has revealed bioactive compounds in beer that battle cancer, boost your metabolism, help prevent clots, keep cleaner arteries, and reduce stress. So while many believe beer is an unhealthy, trashy drink, it is actually a tedious creation that's very lucrative and can even bring cheer or relaxation. So today I will be giving you a first, brief history on beer, second, its components, and third, the different styles available. To begin, let me tell you what beer is and when it started making dents in history. Assess what beer brew pub and restaurant defines beer as a fermented beverage made of 4 ingredients: water, barley, hops, and yeast. Beer is the most popular beverage in the world, only second to water. And the US is the biggest beer brewing nation in the world. So, beerhistory.com has given us a few dates. 4300 BC, the Babylonians carved beer recipes into clay tablets. In 1600 BC, the Egyptian text contained over 100 medical prescriptions calling for beer. In 1674 AD, Harvard College had their own brew house. And in 1880, over 2,300 breweries were active in the United States. In 1966, Budweiser sold over 10 million barrels of beer in 1 year. In 1993, retail beer sales exceeded $45 billion. And in 2011, retail beer sales are already at a whopping $101 billion. So, beer has some history. But what's it made of? And what makes this multi-valuable beverage? First is water. Water is one of the most important ingredients to a good beer recipe. And even though water is just water, some beer brands use specific brands of water because some water has more or less of certain chemicals and minerals that can affect the starch conversion process of the brew. Hops is the second ingredient. Hops is a flower that grows on the end of a vine in temperate regions of Asia, Europe, and North America. The base of the cone has yellow glands that contain the essential oils and resins that are really important for your brew as well. Third is barley, or malted barley. Barley gives us the sugar, which is called maltose, that helps ferment into the beer. Malting is a process that allows the grains to germinate, which lets the seed's resources become available to be brewed. And last, yeast. The last and final ingredient is without a doubt the most important component of a good beer recipe. Yeast is a fungus. It might sound a little weird, but amazingly, it can grow with or without oxygen, when most microorganisms can only do one or the other. In brewing, they live in oxygen, which causes them to take in the simple sugars from the hops and the barley and ferment them, turning them into carbon dioxide and alcohol as the waste products. So, the same 4 components make almost every style of beer. But what makes the different styles of beer? There are ales and there's lagers. Ales and lagers are the 2 main styles of beer. And although there are thousands of other styles and flavors, all of them can be classified into these 2 just by the type of yeast used in fermentation. Ale yeast flocculates, or coagulates loosely, at the top of the fermentation tank. Ales thrive between 60 and 72 degrees, and lager yeast, on the other hand, works better at a low temperature. They work between 46 to 55 degrees mostly, as well as, unlike ales, lagers ferment at the bottom of the fermentation tank. The New York Times said in an article called Beer that unlike ales, which are ready to drink shortly after brewing, cold brewed beers ferment slower and need more time to mature before being drank. And then there's macro and there's micro brewing. First, the difference is quite simple. Macro, meaning big, and micro, meaning small, is basically exactly what it sounds like. Microbreweries brew less beer at a time. And in fact, they believe in brewing single batches of beer at a time, just so they can maximize the desirable characteristics of a single beer. According to Fox News, microbrewing is also responsible for 6.5% of the $9 billion supermarket sales of beer every year. Macrobrewing is also well more known than microbrewing. Macrobrewing is the big companies, which are basically Coors Light, Bud Light, Budweiser, Miller, all the basics like that. And then microbrewing is popular as well, but obviously less popular than the generic big companies of beer. And microbrewing is also known as craft brews. Some craft brews are called Anchor Steam, which is one of my personal favorites. Dogfish Head, which sounds kind of weird. And Road Ales, which is a pretty popular brand that comes out of Oregon. And according to brewersassociation.org, microbreweries are also responsible for 100,000 jobs in a year, or in the US every year. So, to sum up the information I've given you today, first, beer is a fermented alcoholic beverage that has a rather long history. Second, it's the same 4 ingredients in almost every kind of beer. But these ingredients also make every beer unique. And lastly, micro and macro brewing make up the whole beer economy. And although there are a ton of styles, every one of them can get traced back to a now or lager just by the type of yeast used in fermentation. Beer is brewed through a tedious process that has done everything from being part of medical prescriptions to bringing in billions of dollars to the economy. And although the ingredients are consistent, the different ways they're used and brewed makes thousands of different styles, flavors, and characteristics. Many people think of beer as a trashy drink full of empty calories. But now, hopefully, everyone here has gained a better understanding of how long beer has been around, the hard process in which it takes to create, and the multiple different ways it can taste, look, and smell. So, to leave you all off with one final quote, beer, if drank in moderation, softens the temper, cheers the spirit, and promotes health. Thomas Jefferson.